Most people walk through life blind to the constant flow of information leaking from the people around them. They listen to the words people say, which are almost always calculated lies, while ignoring the biological reality of the human nervous system. Reading a person is not about guessing their mood. It is about observing the involuntary mechanical responses that occur before a human has time to think. The brain is incapable of hiding its true state from an observer who understands the biology of human behavior. Understanding these primal triggers turns every conversation into a simple process of data extraction where the other person provides all the leverage. The human body is constantly speaking even when the mouth is closed. This is because the autonomous nervous system dictates physical movement based on internal states, bypassing conscious control. When a person feels threatened or uncomfortable, their body language will shift in ways that are impossible to fake for long. Like when a person sits back and crosses their arms the moment a topic becomes difficult, they are physically creating a barrier to protect themselves. The brain recognizes this as a defensive posture, a clear sign of internal conflict or fear. By noticing this shift, one identifies a point of vulnerability to exploit. This vulnerability often reveals itself in the face, where micro-expressions provide a split-second window into the true mind. These expressions are the result of the limbic system reacting to stimuli before the prefrontal cortex can apply a social filter. A person might smile, but if the muscles around their eyes do not contract, the expression is a hollow mask meant to deceive. The brain relies on the Duchenne smile, which uses specific orbital muscles that cannot be triggered at will. When these muscles stay still, while the mouth pulls into a grin, the brain identifies a clear discrepancy. This reveals the person is concealing their true intent. The eyes themselves are another piece of biological data that most observers completely overlook. The pupils will naturally dilate when a person sees something they desire or find interesting, as the brain seeks more visual input. If the eyes stay flat or the person looks away, they are uninterested, regardless of their polite verbal responses. This is driven by the autonomic nervous system's focus on energy conservation. When an individual pretends to care about a subject they despise, their focus will drift to find a more rewarding target. Watching the eyes reveals exactly what a person values. Value is also communicated through the feet and the orientation of the body during social interaction. The brain is programmed to point the body toward the target of its highest interest. If a person stands with their chest turned toward a pier, but their feet pointed toward the exit, their body is signaling a desire to leave. This is the result of the brain's priority system, where survival and escape needs override social obligations. Noticing where the feet point allows an observer to see what a person is actually thinking about, not just what they are currently doing. This need for escape is closely linked to the brain's aversion to prolonged, direct eye contact in certain settings. While eye contact is often viewed as a sign of confidence, it can also be a display of dominance and aggression. In a forced social setting, a person who stares too intensely is often trying to assert control, hoping to intimidate the observer. This activates the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex, which makes the observer feel submissive or physically tense. The moment an observer breaks this stare with calm, calculated indifference, the aggressor loses their leverage. They are left holding a display of power that has been completely ignored. Indifference is the ultimate tool when dealing with people who try to use fake enthusiasm. When a person speaks with an overly bright tone, but their hands remain tucked in their pockets, they are suppressing their own body language to maintain a lie. The brain requires physical movement to support verbal energy, and without it, the message feels off. This creates a clear dissonance that the brain will immediately flag. By pointing out the contradiction or simply staring in silence, One forces the person to scramble to fill the void. They will over-explain, further exposing their lack of genuine intent. The scramble for validation is exactly what an expert reader looks for during every exchange. People constantly drop subtle hints about their social status and their need for approval. Like when someone talks over their own story to ensure the listener is still engaged, they are seeking an external boost to their internal state. This is an attempt to trigger a dopamine release by confirming their importance to the group. Recognizing this hunger for attention allows the observer to grant or withhold validation at will. The person who needs approval becomes an easy target for manipulation. Manipulation works best when the observer understands the role of territorial dominance in a room. People naturally attempt to claim physical space to signal their hierarchy level. When someone spreads their items across a table or leans back to occupy more space, they are asserting their dominance. This is a primitive, mammalian behavior designed to ward off rivals without physical combat. An individual who keeps their own items contained and maintains a neutral posture remains invisible to this trap. They retain the ability to observe the territorial struggle without becoming a part of it. This invisible position is the only place from which to see the patterns of deceptive storytelling. Deceivers will often use third-party language to create distance from their own lies. They avoid using I or me, opting for phrases like most people feel or you know how it is. This is a subconscious attempt to minimize their connection to the false statement, reducing the brain's internal stress. By highlighting the lack of personal ownership in their story, an observer creates immediate tension. The liar will feel the pressure to own their words, which often leads to the unraveling of the entire narrative. The narrative often unravels when the observer introduces the concept of strategic silence. Most people fear silence and will do anything to fill it with noise. When a question is asked and the person gives a standard scripted answer, waiting for 5 seconds without responding will break their resolve. The silence forces their brain into a state of extreme discomfort as the social loop remains unfinished. They will start talking to end the pain, usually revealing more information than they originally intended. Silence is the ultimate mirror, showing the person who they really are when they have no script to rely on. True character is revealed not when someone is comfortable, but when they feel the pressure of an unexpected change. A change in the environment, like an abrupt topic shift, tests how a person regulates their stress response. A stable, confident person will remain fluid and adapt without losing their composure. An insecure person will show signs of irritation or confusion as their mental model of the world has been disrupted. This is where the observer sees the true limits of a person's intelligence and their ability to handle the unexpected. People who cannot handle minor changes are never a threat to someone who plans for them. This planning requires an understanding of how people reveal their hidden hierarchies. In a group, the person who speaks the least is often the one with the most influence. They watch, they assess, and they control the emotional temperature of the room. Others will constantly glance at them to see how they react to the conversation, signaling their true leader. By ignoring the loudest person and identifying the quiet observer, one finds the actual source of power. Everything else in the room is just noise meant to distract from the reality of the situation. Power lies in the ability to see the mechanics of human behavior while remaining completely detached from them. The observer who understands these biology-driven patterns is never fooled by words. They do not look for the truth in the mouth, but in the hands, the eyes, and the feet. They recognize that every human is a predictable machine operating under the same set of evolutionary rules. When one stops listening to the script and starts watching the nervous system, every person becomes an open book. There are no more mysteries, only data waiting to be read. The truth is always written on the body for those who have the discipline to look.